Today we're going to talk about section 1.3.1, manufacturing costs. So these are the major types of manufacturing costs. The first one is a capital cost. It's a one-time large expense. So for our class, an example of that would be buying the CNC mill machine. Then we have operating costs. These are periodic costs over time. There are two different types of these, fixed and variable. The fixed are unchanged regardless of production. For example, the CNC mill must be maintained whether we use it or not. So those are just costs that happen just by nature of owning the machine. Variable costs, they change with production rate. So for example, if we use the CNC mill, it would be the wearable parts that cut the material, so the bits, and it varies depending on how many parts the mill produces. So the more parts we produce, the more bits that we're going to need. A capital cost is an initial investment that contributes to the production as it is used. So again, for example, the CNC machine is purchased. We did not pay $150,000 for ours. If one part is produced, then the cost to mill that part is $150,000. However, if we mill 6,000 parts, then it takes that cost down to $25 per part. Although there are the additional costs like the bits and the maintenance. So you have to consider the long-term use of the machine. There's often a trade-off between the capital cost of the machine and the rate at which it makes products. So operating costs, let's talk about those fixed costs, unchanged regardless of production. So they're periodic costs that remain more or less unchanged regardless of the output level or sales revenue of a firm. It includes insurance, building and equipment rental, lighting, and heating. Then with variable costs, they change with production rate. So they're costs, periodic costs that vary with the rate of production of goods. Such costs include labor wages, accelerated production, shipping to and from the factory, and maintenance. So factors affecting costs are subject to the fluctuating market price of material, labor rate changes due to labor demand and minimum wage laws, the urgency of meeting demand or replacing damaged equipment, and shipping costs related to the method used and the quantity that's shipped. Variable cost factors, let's talk about materials. They often vary by region. They fluctuate with supply and demand, and generally cost of material and price of final product decreases with increased volume. So the more you purchase, the cheaper it becomes. Variable costs, let's talk about maintenance. Maintenance is needed to keep the machines running. Costs might be tempting to reduce, but often leads to higher total costs. So it's often tempting to try to fix something yourself, but in the long run, you might do more damage than good. And then let's talk about the variable cost factor of time. Time has many impacts. For example, a customer may have a deadline to receive the product. Also, employees required to operate the machinery may have to be paid extra if the manufacturing process is slowed or delayed. In addition, some materials may become unusable after a period of time. So missing customer deadlines can lead to penalties or losing future sales. Materials wasted due to expiration and decay, that's just a cost that we have to eat. And then lowering the need to react urgently can significantly lower costs. So planning ahead. The variable cost of shipping. Shipping costs often affected by the speed at which product must be delivered or material goods must be received. Shipping by train or boat is less expensive per pound, but is much slower. Plant location selection affects the shipping cost to and from a facility. So we have to look at cost per unit is affected by what mode we use. Trains and ships cost less but are slower than airplanes. Distance to a facility impacts the shipping. So you'll often see big manufacturers located to some type of a shipping resource. So I don't know if you ever pay attention, but when you drive through Flint, the truck plant is right there. The Chevy truck plant is right there by I-69 and I-75. And if you notice, there's a big rail yard right there. And so they actually ship a lot of their vehicles out by rail, by train. And so they're located close to that. And then most of their other things are shipped by trucks that come in. So let's look at labor costs. So the decision to hire labor can be a complex decision. Factors include the need for experience, versatility of the individual, and the ability to work in a variety of environments and with a variety of personalities. Value-added tasks contribute directly to difference between the price that a product can be sold for minus the cost of materials used to make the product. For example, painting a part, bending a piece of steel, and fastening two parts of a product together increase its value. Non-value added tasks do not contribute to that for which the customer pays. While they can usually be eliminated without impairing a process, some of the non-value added tasks are necessary and should be performed to make sure they don't slow down production. For example, moving a part from storage to the assembly line does not increase the value of the product, but it's a necessary action that has to be performed. So wages, again, they vary based on skill and experience. Overtime is an expensive use of labor. Manufacturing efficiency can improve by focusing labor on value-added tasks and minimizing those non-value-added tasks. So remember, value-added tasks are those that directly increase the value of material as it is processed to its final product, while non-value-added tasks do not directly increase the value of material as it is processed into a final product, whether the action is important or not. So here's an example. A manufacturing facility produces units for sale using a team of laborers and management. Sales and manufacturing data on the next slide are parameters to plan the manufacturing activities and calculate profit or loss over a 5-year period. So there's always somebody behind the scenes working with the numbers and making sure that what you're doing is the most cost effective. So here is a spreadsheet. You're going to look at this a little bit more in depth with your assignment. So it just shows the sales and manufacturing data. So it shows revenue. That's how much you're going to make. The cost of goods sold, how much it costs for each product that you make, the expenses. So you can see there's sales commissions, there's management costs that are in there, utilities, heat and light, your insurance that you have to pay to have your building and all of that, and then just those office supplies. And then you have some other additional expenses, which are taxes. So this is a crucial value to calculate is the time to produce the units for sale. So if you look, you can see the number of units and then how much time does it take. So for this particular thing, it takes 48 minutes to produce one unit. It takes 4 people to do that, and you have one team. So you have a team of 4 that are creating 48 units, or I'm sorry, creating one unit in 48 minutes. A profit and loss statement is used to analyze the income generated from sales minus expenses associated with producing and selling the product. This is kind of the bottom line. Like you need to make sure that you have a gross profit and not a gross loss. And so you can look over these. There's sales revenue of over $1 million. And then you can see what the cost of everything was, the cost of goods sold. So you can see the gross margin there. So that's the income minus all those expenses, or the revenue, sorry, minus all of those expenses. I say that those are expenses that you have that aren't going to change. So then you have another list of expenses. So the management, sales commission, heat and lights, insurance premium, office supplies. So those then are my total expenses. And so you can see, luckily, there's a gross profit of $286,000. So you went from $1 million of what you made in revenue down to a profit of $286,000. So there's a lot of cost in producing that product. So here is a profit and loss projection for 5 years out. And you're going to do some things with this, like change some numbers and see what happens. And so you have an assignment. So you have some questions to answer that will be a Google Doc, and it's attached to the assignment. So thank you, and make sure you get that turned in.